What's up, everybody? It's your homie fucking Reckless, and today I want to talk about why resin prints fail. So I'm going to talk about supports. The number one reason why your resin prints are failing is because you're not leveling your bed properly. So that is a huge part of resin printing. Obviously, level your bed. Now, supports are really the main focus of this video rather than your filament supports. Filament supports hold your whatever you're printing from below. They support it from below, whereas a resin print is what your print is suspended from. So resin printing supports basically anytime you have a part of your print that is just going to basically appear out of nowhere, you want to have a support on that. Those are called islands. So you want all that stuff supported. I'm going to show you a pretty detailed video on how I do my supports and why I do them in the way that I do them. So what I use is Chidu box for doing my supports. I only use Chidu box for supports. I don't really use it for anything else. I use it for hollowing as well, but we will get into that on another video. But right now, what I want to focus on is the support system for your resin print. So what can happen if your supports, here's a great example of some supports. So if your supports aren't holding your product properly, then your product is going to stick to your FEP film. Now your FEP film, it's good to be a little bit sticky. You will hear a little popping noise every time your building plate comes off of the FEP film. That's a good sign. You want to hear that little bit of a popping noise because that means that your print is working. It means your print is separating from the FEP film, and that's really important. Otherwise, you just have a big flat mess. So with supports, you want to support certain parts of your print that will possibly stick to the FEP film. So here's a great example right here. So I have this snake guy, and as you can see, everything went well up until the top point, and there's no print after that. The rest of the print was stuck to my resin vat in the FEP film. So what I did basically was I went back into the program and I supported around these areas where it let go specifically to help it stay to my build plate, and that's really important. So I'm going to go into Chidu box right now, and we're going to actually support a print that I have printed for a friend. So I printed this. This is Luffy from One Piece. I printed him for a friend. It turned out great. He has a big plate underneath him, which is very susceptible to being stuck to the FEP film. So I'm going to explain how I got this print so clean in one piece. And this isn't hollowed, this is all one piece solid resin. So let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, the print is not a very big print, but it's a decent sized print. But it has a very big plate on the bottom. So what you want to do is put that plate on a bit of an angle so that it's not such a large surface area that's going to stick to your FEP film. So what I like to do is put everything on about a 45-degree angle. Anything that is a large surface area, I try to make it as small as possible with the angle that I'm starting to print on right off the bat. So as you can see here, when it's printing, that plate is going to print layer by layer but on an angle, so it's not going to print the entire surface. it's going to print small sections of it all the way through, and that is much better for the long run. Your print won't stick to your FET film. You can scale up and scale down very easily with all these extra settings here. I'm going to leave this at stock and just print it at the stock setting. I think I might have actually scaled it up to like 106% or something. So yeah, now we're going to get into supports. So I prefer to use medium supports, just because the medium supports don't tend to stick on the FET film so much. You can use a PTFE spray on your FET film, which is basically a dry lubricant, and it will make it so that you don't stick to the FET film so much. So for contact depth, I like to be at about 0.8 millimeters, contact diameter about 0.5 millimeter. It's all fairly standard stock settings. My top, medium, my top, middle, and bottom are all stock, but I make my contact areas a little deeper and wider just to help hold the supports. So what I do here is I hit all on supports, and that's going to support everything to what the program thinks needs to be supported. So there's a lot here that's still not supported that I'm not happy with. I'm going to go in, I'm going to support the base a lot more and check and make sure that there's no extra islands, there's no extra any supports not being held. So his scarf is a very susceptible spot of sticking to your FET film, so you want to definitely make sure that the scarf is fully supported. I might throw a couple extra supports in here and there just to help keep it in place. If you don't hold these thin spots in place, then they will warp. If they don't stick to the FET film, they'll warp. So it's good to make sure that everything is well supported. You also don't want to over support things, because then you will run into a different kind of problem where supports will fuse together and just make everything look super messy. Alright, so I'm going to go to the bottom of this base here and just evenly throw in some supports. So I want the supports a little tighter together near the bottom, closest to the build plate, and I can go a little farther apart the farther I get away from my build plate, because all these other supports will still be holding. So I'm going to start around here, and I'll do this edge all the way up. Any little detail that is left after a support is broken off can be easily fixed with some side snips or a file. So I'm just gonna support all this stuff super quick here. Now that everything is supported, I'm going to actually check and make sure that there's no islands being created. So an island is going to be an odd area that will just be printed basically out of nowhere. You can see some islands, but I have them all supported. So I'm just going to go down. There's little bits of his pants and stuff. So it looks like everything is very well supported, actually. And that's how the print is going to go, from the build plate up, but it's being suspended upside down. Alright, so now we can save this. Save all models into a STL file. And then we can go into Photon, and we will open up the program in Photon. After the program is opened on Photon, we will slice the file into Photon onto your little USB drive, and then start printing. And you're good to go. So yeah, this is my video on properly supporting your resin prints. I like to do about 8 seconds per layer, 60 seconds for the bottom layers, and I do about 5 bottom layers. You don't want to overexpose, because overexposure can get your print to stick to the fet film more often. You don't want that. And underexposure will make your print very soft. Yeah, so thanks for watching, everyone. Soon you too can be doing some crazy prints like this, or like this. Look at that. It's completely insane. Look at the detail. So yeah, stay tuned and keep watching. I'll teach you some more about resin printing. Thanks for watching, everyone, and flip the bird.